What's good, YouTube? It's your boy OG Nonboy, back with another video, and in today's video I'm going to be going over a new twist on an old classic, which is the Altaria, Toxicroak, and Registeel team. And Altaria and Registeel, or like any steel type, has been a pretty common pairing, and instead of the Registeel I'm going to be using the Galarian Stunfisk, and instead of the Toxicroak I'm going to be using the new water gun Lanturn. So Lanturn is pretty interesting since it is weak to ground types, and so is our Galarian Stunfisk in the back. So this is kind of like an ABB team, but the Lanturn is able to fight back against the ground types now with the water gun. So a lot of times if you shield correctly, you can be able to flip switch against ground types, which can kind of turn the tide of a lot of battles. So without further ado, let's get into these matches here. So first match, we have the Altaria into the Sableye, and this is a pretty positive lead for us, especially if we are able to shield the return correctly. And you don't have to go for the Moonblast here, since the Sky Attack plus the extra Dragon Breath damage is more or less sufficient to take out the Sableye, and it's risky if they do shield. So I'm just going to go straight Sky Attack here, and we do shield the return up correctly, and the opponent CMPs us here with the foul play, so I'm going to decide to undercharge this a little bit so I can get a little bit of extra energy on my Altaria. And the opponent makes a good move by swapping into their Altaria here, since they know they're just going to get farmed down and they're going to have bad alignment anyways, so they don't allow themselves to get farmed down, which is a pretty heads up play by them. But we're going to kind of hardwall them here with our Galarian Stunfisk, and now they're in a pretty bad position. But as you can see here, the Rock Slides don't really do that much damage to the Altaria. Like, the Altaria is still pretty bulky, so we're going to need 3 Rock Slides to knock this thing out, and the Dragon Breaths plus these Sky Attacks are adding up quite a bit, so I'm just going to overfarm a little bit here and take this Altaria out, just so I have a little bit of extra energy for whatever comes in next. And they decide to bring in an Azumarill, and the Azumarill is not too good against the Galarian Stunfisk, especially if it doesn't know the Hydro Pump. Like, the Earthquake still hurt the Azumarill quite a bit here. So now the Azumarill is at half health, and even though we don't have Spark, we should be able to get to 2 Thunders and take out this Azumarill, and the opponent knows that and concedes the match. So next match here, we have the Altaria into the Stunfisk. So we're going to swap it to our safe swap of the Water Gun Lanturn, and they bring in the Sableye. So I know I can take Switchback here if I invest resources into gaining Switchback, like shield and stuff. And in the even shields, we should be able to take Switchback, since these water guns are adding up quite a bit. So we can still tank one of these foul plays pretty comfortably, and if the opponent doesn't shield this, we're going to take them out. And even if they did, I would have just invested my next shield and then taken them out anyways. So the opponent recognizes they're going to lose Switch, so they just give it up. And now we have the alignment that we want. We have our Galarian Stunfisk on their Galarian Stunfisk, and then we have our Altaria on this Trevenant here. So I bring my Altaria in, and they throw a Shadow Ball at me. I'm just going to tank this, and I anticipate that they're going to swap immediately into their Stunfisk, so I swapped into mine preemptively, but they end up staying in with their Trevenant and farming up to another Shadow Ball. And this is kind of where I misplay absolutely terribly. So my Stunfisk still has a lot of value here. I should be able to get to a couple of Rock Slides on their Trevenant if I just shield my Stunfisk and go for the full farm down. But here I let it go, and then now the Trevenant has a Shadow Ball, and I also don't shield this, and if I shield it I might have been able to farm it down before it got to another Shadow Ball, but I just double misplayed super hard and massively through that game. So that's a tough one, but definitely winnable if I just wasn't a bonobo. Next match, we have Altaria into Medicham, and you win this in any sort of even shield scenario, since you can pretty comfortably tank a Ice Punch here, even though it's double super effective. So We're gonna shield since they shielded, but they're gonna outpace us to the next Ice Punch, which is fine because we're just gonna go ahead and shield that. And to win this in the 2 shields, you actually have to throw your last Sky attack, since they will, if you try to farm them down, they'll make it to an extra Ice Punch on you and take you out. So at this point, I'm just going to let the Altaria go, since I'm going to just take the shield advantage here. So I bring in my Lantern to farm this thing all the way down, but they're going to be able to just barely reach a Psychic here. And I'm going to tank it, since Galarian Stunfisk with a shield up is pretty strong. And they bring in a Trevenant, and then I swap into my Stunfisk and they swap into theirs. And since we swapped in first, we were able to be 1 mud shot ahead, which means we should be able to beat this Stunfisk to the Earthquake. So even if this is a bait, like, I should be able to reach a Rock Slide, which might take them out, might not actually from this range, but lucky for us it was the Earthquake, so I'm just gonna be able to take out their Stunfisk with this Rock Slide. And now I have my Stunfisk against this Trevenant, and I should be able to get to 2 Rock Slides before they're able to take me out here. And as you're gonna see here, like, the Shadow Ball doesn't even do half health. Like, it won't even take my Stunfisk out from this range. So for me to not shield in the last game was just completely silly. But anyways, we get this Rock Slide off, and then we're able to get this Surf out. So that'll be GG's for us. And next match we have, and this is the final match too, since one of the matches the opponent lost just due to lag, they lagged out, so I didn't include that. But Victory Bell lead usually means that there's a Bastiodon in the back, and our Galarian Stunfisk just completely hard walls a Bastiodon. So as long as we're able to maintain alignment here, we should have a pretty easy game. So we kind of soften up this Deoxys a little bit with our Dragon Breaths and throwing a Sky Attack, and we're able to get a shield. And for some reason I shield their Thunderbolt, but as you're gonna see here, it doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. But since we were like a shield up, I just thought for some reason it'd be safe to shield it, but it doesn't really matter, since as long as we are able to take this Victory Bell out, even if we end up going down a shield to do it, our Galarian Stunfisk just completely hard walls the Bastiodon. So even if the Bastiodon had like 2 shields up and we had none, like, our Stunfisk would still be able to take it out pretty comfortably. So the opponent here decides to mess around a little bit, and like, they don't just quit out, they make me take them out, and they barely really tap their fast moves. But yeah, this is a pretty clean-cut win for us. Like, we basically just completely team comped our opponent. And a lot of times it's really important to have like a hard read on your opponent's team, so that you know when to maintain switch and that sort of thing, and when to take shield advantage. So I'd say that, you know, team knowledge is a really important part in Go Battle League. But yeah, that's all for this video. We ended up going 4-1 in this set, but like I said, one of the battles the opponent just lagged out, so I didn't include that battle. So yeah, that's all for today's video. I really do like this team, and I really do like the Lantern on the SAFESWAP. The water gun damage is just kind of oppressive and can help flip a lot of matchups. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And also, please submit your battles in the link in the description below, and I'll see you in the next one.